my good friend. Good seeing you, buddy. We worked real close together when I was president of NAACP, and I have had the support of the Tejano Democrats, 23rd Central Tejano Democrats, every time that I've run. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. I'm running for my last term on the city council. I've had the pleasure and honor of serving as Mayor Pro Tem of the city, immediate past Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Dallas. And just last weekend, I took my two guys and I was looking at them, looking at some old pictures. And I was just telling them earlier, when I first started, he's 11 now, he was 5, and he was 8. When I first ran, and they were coming here to breakfasts, and many of you come. You remember Chad and Moreno, and so let's give them a round of applause for just hanging with Dad all these years. I love you guys, and I do what I do for you. And so it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve on the Dallas City Council. Like I said, I'm running for my last term. As I was looking at the calendar just yesterday, 4 weeks from today, this whole thing is over with. It goes real fast. And so it's been an honor to be here with you so many times. One of the greatest honors recently I've had to serve was Mayor Johnson appointed me chair of our COVID-19 ad hoc committee for the city of Dallas. And we know, just by looking at the numbers, in Dallas County, our Latino and Latinx community has been impacted more, not only with positive cases, but deaths from COVID-19. And so we worked very hard to make sure that in 75211, which is the zip code, which happens to be in District 3, the zip code that had the highest number of cases, we immediately put together a strategy to go door to door and give information about COVID testing. I helped Mountain View get set up as a testing site, and we're working on getting Mountain View set up as a vaccine site. We're impacted the most. We should have access to vaccines, access to testing first. But we had to work extremely hard, pushing the county, pushing others in the state. Thank you to Senator Royce West and his advocacy. Because the one thing we noticed is they were not even keeping good data. We look at the data, we saw the positive COVID-19 test case predominantly across the state of Texas, predominantly Latino, Latinx, second African American, but only 50% of the total cases were reported. So what do you think the other half of individuals who are not even reported are? Majority, us, people in our communities. The biggest threat to our community right now is COVID-19. If you don't know someone who's died from it, you know someone who's been impacted by it. You know, individuals here, do we have any survivors? I consider them survivors. Anybody who's not ashamed to say, I tested positive for COVID-19, but I'm here, I survived from it. All right, don't be ashamed of it. Let's raise your hand. You're a survivor. Thank you. Give them a round of applause. Because that has been the test of our lifetime. I've had an honor, I have a saying, leaders lead during the crisis. Leaders lead during the crisis. I've had a chance to lead. I've had an opportunity to lead this city and this area, as well as the social unrest that's taking place. The murders of black and brown people all over this country, individuals here in the city of Dallas. I was out marching with our protesters, showing them that, you know what, we have to make change. I'm honored to have had an opportunity to spend time with Chief Garcia. I wasn't here, but I did see the video, probably Marina's video, but Chief Garcia was here with y'all. And I want you to know, I've had a chance to sit down and talk to him. I support him 100%. And you can tell him I said that. He's our first Latin chief. He is committed to seeing this city be safe. And you know what's most important about having Chief Garcia? He has experience having been a chief for a number of years. So we have someone who's at the helm of our police department who's going to take responsibility, who's going to make the important decisions that need to be said, that need to be made, is going to lead our city. And so for those of you, if you don't live in District 3, if you know someone who does, ask them to vote Casey Thomas on number 1 on the ballot Casey Thomas, Dallas City Council District 3. I want to have an opportunity to finish everything that I started. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure once again to do it.
Saying and thanking all the elected officials that are here today, because everybody had registration events during the last 3 months, making sure that we can beat this pandemic together. So thank you to all of you. The reality is we're not out of it yet. We are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. All the doctors are saying that if we continue the registration pattern that we have right now, we will have the 60 to 80% community immunity or herd immunity that we need to beat this pandemic. So in the meantime, we have to follow the CDC recommendations. Continue to wear your mask, your distancing, washing your hands, everything that we have learned to know during this last year. The other issue that we're seeing is, remember, only 1/3 of the population have been fully vaccinated. In a county of 2.4 to 2.6 million people, we still have a lot of people to vaccinate. The recommendation continues to be the same. Register everywhere you can, and whoever calls you, you go, and then you get vaccinated. In Dallas County, you cannot choose which vaccine you can get, so I will recommend that if you want a specific vaccine, look for it. Another issue that I want to talk to you about is obviously there was a case in the media in the last 2 days about an 8-year-old getting a vaccine. Obviously, the vaccines that we have right now in the market have not been tested in young kids. It was a human error. As you know, the algorithm chooses the people that comes out into the list of all our partners, the city of Dallas, the city of Moreno, etc. And but there was an algorithm for the kid to get vaccinated. Sadly, it should not get it, but it happened. So please remember that when you get the appointment for a vaccination is for people 16 or older, depending if it's Pfizer or Moderna. So let's be aware of this. Let's continue to get educated. Let's continue to encourage our families to get vaccinated. And of course, during this holiday season, if you're fully vaccinated, you can meet with a small group of people that is fully vaccinated. Okay, so that's that. And of course, I want to thank Parkland. I don't see Jesse Narvaez here, but thank you for all his work with the Parkland board. And of course, the way that I got the vaccine was doing the campaign for Parkland. So thank you, Parkland, for all your hard work. Other issues that I want to just bring to the table, as you know, we continue to consolidate Dallas County buildings. In the years that I've been there, one of my goals was to reduce deferred maintenance. We have done that in less than 10 years, from 100 million to less than 20 million. And we hope that the county is debt-free by 2035. So that is a great achievement. I don't think there's one county in the state of Texas that is debt-free. And we have done it working together. So I want to thank you all for your support. On this issue, we opened the Cochran Hill, roundabout that you probably have seen in Cochran Hill, great entrance to the city of Dallas and the city of Cochran Hill. Obviously, a great partnership with Casey Thomas and the city of Dallas. We really appreciate that transition. And of course, Darkhawk and all our partners in this process. The other issue that I want very quickly to talk about is the new Beckley sub-courthouse. As you know, in this consolidation, we are building a new sub-courthouse that is going to be located on Jefferson, next to Panchitas. So it's going to be the best state-of-the-art when it comes to LEED certification. I am very happy and thankful to all the elected officials that have worked with me. I see Constable Orozco, Juan Hasso, and everyone that is giving their input for the art. I think you'll be very happy to see that this facility, that is one of the most utilized, in Dallas County, will be a new facility. The reality, the 400 South Berkeley location, and please stop me, Constable Orozco, if I'm wrong. I mean, we were having a lot of issues with that. Plus, it was not a good building for doing business, and maintenance was getting out of whack. So, last but not least, I just want to talk to you because it's been in the news, and I just want you all to be aware of what this project really is. Currently, the 400 South Berkeley location will be demolished. The county owns the property. One of the things that I've been working since I've been a commissioner, and because I know as a former council member and as a former mayor of the Latino, I know affordable housing. True affordable housing is what we need to stop gentrification. And let's face it, Dallas is changing. So one of the things that I've been pushing in the Commissioner's Court was to build a true affordable housing for 60% median income or lower. And this property will be, the Commissioner's Court approved unanimously to build 240 units in this location. The county will own the property, but it will be managed by someone else. And definitely you don't want that as managing it. So with that being said, 46 will be at market price, but the rest will be affordable housing. So one, 2, and 3 bedrooms. So I'm looking forward to work with the city of Dallas. I have talked to the council member of the district, and he's very supportive of these efforts. And I know that the city will be helping us on both of these projects. So thank you, Mr. Flores. Thank you all, and we continue to fight this pandemic. We want to go back to as normal as we can. I know I want to go and see my parents. So, muchísimas gracias a todos y gracias por su apoyo. Y por favor, no duden en llamarme. Traigo algunos de mis mensajes que hacemos mensualmente. Por favor, Elba García, a Dallas County. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, doctora. Incidentally, doctora, the city has about 600 or 700 lots that are in surplus. Perhaps those can be converted into low-income housing. They own them, and they're just there sitting, and the weeds and all that kind of stuff, getting citations. Perhaps we could prevail around the city to actually provide those lots to build homes that are probably for low income. Idea. Thank you very much. We also have in the house, we have Mayor Pro Tem Adam Moreno in the back. Adam Moreno, stand up and take it out. We have the national LULAC legal advisor, Mr. Eric Cedillo, attorney at law. Eric, take it out. We also have Renato de los Santos, our executive director for the LULAC Educational Service Center. Thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to bring to the assembly Mr. Adam Narvaez.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you. Good morning, LULAC. My name is Omar Narvaez, and I'm your council member for the City of Dallas, District 6. And I'm running for re-election for my 3rd term. And the reason that I'm running for a re-election is because experienced, effective leadership is what is important at Dallas City Hall. We cannot afford to change the leadership that we have now in District 6. For far too long, you all know that District 6 did not have a voice at Dallas City Hall. And what makes me so proud, is that my colleagues, as well as city staff, our Dallas Police Department, our Dallas Fire Department, tell me week after week how much they appreciate that District 6 residents are finally empowered and are at Dallas City Hall making sure that their voices are heard, and that is because of the effective leadership that my office has brought to empower our black and brown neighbors in District 6. Now, what I can tell you that I've worked on is a laundry list of things, and unfortunately in 10 minutes, I can't go over it all. But if you'll go to omarfordallas.com, and you want something to put you to sleep a little bit, that list is so dang long that you're going to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And that's the work that we had to put in place because our district was left behind for so long. What I can tell you I've worked on is affordable housing, environmental issues. I've worked on making sure that people get a $15 minimum wage when we bring in economic development projects into the city of Dallas, and that has now become standard. What I can tell you that we've also done is we brought in over 2,000 new jobs, good paying jobs of $15 an hour or more in West Dallas for West Dallas and Oak Cliff residents so that they can have a living wage in our city. What I can tell you is that this past year, I was the first council member to pass a neighborhood empowerment zone for a residential area, which is the census tract from downtown through the La Bajada and Los Altos neighborhoods. And later this month, we will be implementing that and then we pass 7 more across the entire city. And my colleague, Casey Thomas, and my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Adam Medrano, helped us make sure we got these passed, these other 7. And what will happen is, if you're in one of these neighborhood empowerment zones and you invest $5,000 or more into your home, fixing your roof, changing the windows, plumbing, whatever it is, you get any of that, regardless if it's out of your pocket, a nonprofit, city help, federal help, state help, doesn't matter. As long as that $5,000 or more improvements is made, and you meet the median income of that program, we are going to freeze your city taxes for the next decade. And that is how we keep people in their affordable homes, and that is how our commissioner mentioned it earlier, that we battle gentrification in our neighborhoods. I'm also proud of the fact that this past year my colleagues unanimously approved $2 million for a West Dallas direct home improvement program, and we already have 255 applications for folks in West Dallas to get up to a $10,000 grant to fix up their homes. And you just heard about the NES, right? 10,000 home improvements. Those folks are also going to qualify for getting their property taxes frozen by the city of Dallas for the next decade. Now, I've worked hard, and you all know that. And that's why I am so proud that almost every single elected official that is representing a part of District 6, whether it's in the north in Cypress Waters with State Representative Julie Johnson, if it's in the middle with State Representative Anchia, whether it's in West Dallas in the La Bajada area in Keeneland and Arcadia Park with State Representative Jessica Gonzalez, our County Commissioner, Dr. Elba Garcia, that every single one of them has endorsed me to come back to City Hall because we work together. We don't work against each other. We work together. Even our school board trustees say they want me to come back. And it's overwhelming the momentum that we're starting to build. Oh, and I forgot to say our amazing constable has also endorsed me as well. So thank you, Constable, for that. The other thing that's fantastic, and I can't say enough, is I'm also endorsed by the Dallas County Tejano Democrats as well as the 23rd Senatorial Tejano Democrats. So thank you so much for that. Now, I guess I have a little bit of time to answer a couple of questions, or
2 more minutes.
I have 2 more minutes. I'm going to let you guys ask me, I guess, 1 question. So maybe 2. Maybe I can get Hector to let me do a couple of them. Oh, and I forgot, we have DFW Airport Board member, Mr. Mario Quintanilla here in the front. He's my appointee. So when people say that Omar's not appointing Hispanics, the DFW Airport Board, we've got somebody in the majority of my appointments are Latinos and African Americans, the vast majority of those for District 6 that represent us. Thank you, Mario, for all your work on the Airport Board. Any quick questions?
Any questions? All
One
right.
question, Lisa, one question.
I guess not.
Y'all can't let me off that easy. Come on.
Better take it.
There's a good question. You owe me a beer, so a lot, a pallet.
There are political groups like LULAC, and there are partisan groups
like the Democratic Party and the groups you mentioned, how important, and I know you membership, how important it is to be members of those, well, it's important to be a member of LULAC, to be political, but how important it is to be members of the Democratic Party, of those groups that you did, including Stonewall Democrats that were members. Is it important to be a member of those parties, even though you're in a nonpartisan race? How important it is to be a member. And the reason I'm saying that is that a lot of people come to our groups, to those Democratic groups, to seek endorsement, but it's the first time they've been here. Your leadership was key when you were president for 3 terms for Stonewall. And I believe that helped you to where you are in that position today. So how important it is to be a member, a paying member.
Is that a question or a statement?
So my 2 minutes is up. Thank you so much. Love you, Jesse. I love you, Jesse.
Wait a minute, over here, I think this young man over here wants to ask you a question.
And it is important,
A
Jesse.
serious question.
Yeah, this being LULAC, and we have also a big push right now for members of the organization, but we have high school level, youth groups, collegiate level, and adult groups. But my question to you is, what history do you have of having worked with LULAC? Have you ever been a member of LULAC? What is your involvement with LULAC in the past?
So the question was about my involvement with LULAC, and I can tell you that back in the day when I was in high school, I was a LULAC member, and then you kind of fall away as you grow up and you get different priorities in your life. And then when I moved to Dallas, Texas, there's a LULAC council that was formed here, and thanks to our former national president, Mr. Hector Flores, it was the first of its kind, which was Rainbow LULAC, LULAC Rainbow Council 4871, and I was one of the first members of that organization, which I'm proud to say is about 12 years old now, and that organization helps birth many other LGBT LULAC organizations across the entire country. What I can also finish with you with that is, as an adult, LULAC was the first organization that gave me a leadership role and the ability to be a leader inside of our council, and I was a parliamentarian for our organization. And because of LULAC and me becoming a parliamentarian, I got to go to different classes during our national conventions and state conventions. And because of that, I'm kind of known as the point of order king of the Dallas City Council. And my colleague Casey laughed, but I poo on council members all the time, which is the point of order, because they get out of order for what's going on. And if it wasn't for LULAC, I probably wouldn't have been able to start my leadership abilities, because my leadership skills were born out of LULAC.
You're not getting away.
Hi, Hilda.
Hey, how are you? Thank you.
I'm great. I didn't get to say hi to you yesterday at the Easter thing.
I
You
know
disappeared.
we were busy.
We were busy.
That's what I want to mention, Omar. A lot of the people here don't know that in the past it was invisible. We didn't know who the council member was. But if anybody would look at Facebook, they will see how busy you are and that you are everywhere. During the time of crisis, you didn't go to Mexico. You were outside helping the people. You were helping during the storms. You're helping during the pandemic. You're helping the elderly. You have a phone number that we all know. So I want to thank you for that, because you're accessible. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. And what Hilda's commenting on is that I give my cell phone to everybody, my personal cell phone, and I have from the minute before I even was on the council, but when I was a Dallas County School Board trustee. This is my personal cell phone, not paid for by the city. It's paid for out of my own personal salary that the city pays me, but it is not paid for by the city. And the cell phone number is 214-926-0172, 214-926-0172. And just to go off of when we have emergency management issues in the city of Dallas. Not that I expected that to be my forte, but it became my forte. I've dealt with the gas explosion. I've dealt with a planned gas outage. I've dealt with a windstorm that tore apart the city of Dallas all across the board. We had a tornado. We've had a pandemic, social unrest, and just recently the snowpocalypse. And I can tell you that my assistant, Lara Cadena's out here, and Marcos Salcedo, and we were out there on her birthday night, Valentine's Day, at 10 p.m. when the first neighborhood in West Dallas lost power. We were on the clock. We weren't hiding. We weren't waiting till the next day to find out what was going on. We were getting answers for our public. And before I knew it, I was getting questions and comments sent to me for people that needed help, not just in District 6, not just in the city of Dallas, but our surrounding cities across the county. I even had people from Oklahoma, down in Houston, San Antonio, the Rio Grande Valley, El Paso, started contacting me because they felt that I was the one who was putting information out there for them to know. And we helped every single person that we possibly could. And then I do want to finish by thanking my other colleagues, because West Dallas got hit, and we got hit hard. And we didn't just get hit hard, we got hit hard and ugly. We were the first to lose power, the last to get it back, the first to lose water, the last to get it back. But my council colleagues stepped up and they called and said, what else do you need? Omar, we know you're out there, you're busting your tail, you and your staff, all the volunteers that were out there, the community organizations, we banded together, we took care of our community, and thanks to them, they were able to bring us even more supplies that their neighborhoods may not have needed, or maybe did need, but they saw the extra need that was equity, that needs more than the others. And thank you to my colleagues and city staff, because we were able to pull West Dallas through that crisis. And I'm not saying we're back 100%, but we're back, baby, and we're fighting hard, and we're gonna keep going. Once again, my name is Omar Narvaez. I'm your council member here in the city of Dallas, District 6, OmarForDallas.com. Let's win this thing.
And you heard that, District 6. Omar Narvaez. There's not a microphone he doesn't like. Like my compadre Rene Martinez back there. Jesse Moreno is a candidate for District 2, and of course, Jesse and his dad are known in this community for many, many years, as long as I've been here. Jesse, tell them what you got.
Good morning, buenos dias. My name is Jesse Moreno. I'm running for Dallas City Council. I'm a third generation Dallasite, small business owner. I'm a husband and I'm a father. I'm running for Dallas City Council because I love my city, and Dallas has been good to me and my family. From when my grandfather immigrated from Mexico, finding his first job as a janitor at Woodrow Wilson High School, to my dad's dream of becoming a business owner becoming a reality. Now my wife and I are raising our daughter in the same neighborhood in Old East Dallas that I grew up in. I'm the only candidate in this race that has the commitment and service to all the residents of District 2. From serving on the Dallas Youth Commission when I was just 15 years old, making policy decisions while still in high school, being part of LULAC in high school, president of the student council body, and DISD team board, because I knew it was important to embrace my city at a young age rather than inheriting it as an adult. Most recently, I've been serving the District 2 residents as their park board representative, as vice chairman, and chairman of the Planning and Design Committee, bringing parks to every part of the district. Our latest project, an All Abilities Playground, making sure that kids, no matter their ability, have a safe place, an equitable place to go and have a good time and to be able to smile. Seeing the mom being able to wheel their son into a bucket seat, seeing them smile for the first time in a long time because they're enjoying themselves like every other kid. That's why I have the support of countless civic and elected leaders. The council member, Omar Narvaez, our outgoing Mayor Pro Tem, Adam Medrano, our constable here, because they know that I'm ready. They know that I'm willing and I'm committed. But most importantly, I have the endorsement and support of community leaders throughout the entire District 2. From Elm Cliff North Park with Jonathan Naples, where we invested in a $3 million spray park that's free to our kids to be able to go in a hot summer day. To Lisa Lopez in the Mount Auburn community. The list goes on, guys. They know that I've been doing the work. Nothing's changing for me. I've been doing the work in our community for a really long time, since before I knew I wanted to run for city council. Some of my concerns, some of my policies are going to be public safety. Right? Making sure that we have the resources and tools for our officers, making sure they have the equipment necessary, the training to keep us safe, well, making sure they're held accountable. That's why when I was in the Dallas Park Board, I implemented the Park Ranger program, ensuring that our parks are safe, and also giving our Dallas police officers an opportunity to do true policing instead of going to our parks when someone's parked on the grass, when someone's either smoking or drinking in a public park. And having our park rangers being able to educate the constituents of our district and letting them know about the opportunities available to them. Earlier, Dr. Opa Garcia talked about gentrification. That's District 2's biggest problem right now. I come from Old East Dallas, where it's happening all over the place. So I want to ensure, first, that we're keeping our seniors in our communities, in their homes, by freezing their taxes, by putting in programs that not only bring their homes up to code, but give them an opportunity to stay in their homes. And my hopes in doing that is that we're able to build generational wealth, especially for families that are black and brown, so that they have that opportunity to go to college, to buy their first home, so that they can be at the level of their peers when it comes to equitable. We talk about sidewalks as transportation, the infrastructure. District 2 is one of the oldest parts of the entire city of Dallas, and it shows. Not only is it used by the residents that live in District 2, but our proximity to the urban core, downtown Dallas, we have an influx of vehicles that go through our streets day in and day out, going to work, going back home. And so when it comes to sidewalks, they're crumbling, right? But right now, unfortunately, that responsibility goes to the homeowner, to the adjacent property owner. And that's just not equitable for someone that's struggling to just stay in their home. So one of my initiatives would be to make that the responsibility of the city of Dallas, so that we can take care of the residents. If you're driving down East Dallas, you know, if you're trying to make a left off Greenville, off Haskell, trying to get onto Ross, trying to get onto Live Oak, it's impossible. You have to wait sometimes 1-2 cycles of the lights because we don't have left turn signals in East Dallas. The light infrastructure is so old that we have to update that. And we have to be able to control that from a central location to make traffic move smoothly, instead of requiring a city staffer to come out and fix those lights and get people to and from. It's also good for the environment. The environment is one of my strongest passions. Being able to promote healthy, equitable green space in the city of Dallas, being a good steward of public green space for our future generations, for my daughter, for your children, your grandchildren, making sure they have a safe place to be able to access green space. Guys, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before you. Again, my name is Jesse Moreno. I've been doing this work since I was a kid, and I look forward to continue serving the constituents of District 2. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. JesseMoreno.com.
Good morning, Jesse. Good luck to you on your race. I have a question specific to Rivershore Park. We know that we've been protecting Rivershore Park and that David Blewett actually blew it, but trying to sell it off to a private company, right? What are your thoughts on that? Also, have you served on board and commission with the city of Dallas? And what would be your priority when you win?
Sure. So River Sean, as I mentioned earlier, I've served on the Dallas Park Board for 7.5 years. That's one board and commission. The Dallas Youth Commission is another. Bond committees for the 2017 Bond Committee, and as well as DISD bond committees, redistricting committees. And so River Sean is, quite frankly, the central park of Dallas. It's one of the most beautiful historic parks in our entire city, right smack middle of the urban core. And we all know that Dallas is a big heat island. We're the fastest growing heat island in the entire country. So we need to protect every tree that we can. We need to protect every green space that we can. And so, as you guys know, I voted in opposition of giving away parkland to developers. And I'll stand doing that time in and time again, because our parks belong to you, the people. And so, yes, I will continue to advocate for green spaces. Right now, with River Sean, we are working collaboratively with DISD, with our trustee, Joe Carrion, Justin Henry, amongst others. It looks like we're finally going to be able to restore River Sean, not tear it down, not make it a stadium, but restore it to its original true purpose, and that's for the people. We're finally going to be able to have North Dallas High School play at the, when I was fighting for this, I'm going to tell you, my concerns were, of course, neighborhood inclusion, making sure the neighbors had a voice, because guess what? I don't live next to the park. I don't have to live with the noise blaring from concerts. I don't have to deal with the parking of coming into my backyard. I don't have to deal with the broken beer bottles, with people using trees. And so, yes, I will continue advocating for that. That's why I'm also happy to have the support of our DISD trustee, Joe Carrion, who overlaps the majority of District 2. DISD has done phenomenal progress, guys. We have some of the best choice schools in the city of Dallas in District 2. We have innovative schools. We have new Montessori schools coming into the district. And so, yes, we'll continue protecting the green space.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thanks for coming out here today to Chorizo and Menudo. I heard you say in your presentation that you were president of the LULAC Youth Council. But my question is, are you currently involved in LULAC? And would you commit, or if you are not, to joining the LULAC? There's about 20 that you choose. But then also, what was the impact of your involvement in LULAC in your career, and what impact did it have in you?
Sure, no. So I am not currently involved in a LULAC chapter, but I do help with monetary contributions or donations with the Rainbow LULAC during the school supply drive. So something that was dear to me during my upbringing in high school was the leadership opportunities that I learned from LULAC, coming to the old 7-Eleven building here in Oak Cliff as a teenager. Being able to understand the impact of the Latino community. So it's really important to me when DF District 2 is over 65% Hispanic, that we have representation that reflects the community. And you have my commitment that our board and commission members will reflect District 2.
Strong North Dallas.
We got a lot of candidates here, and they want to also express themselves, so you can vote for them. So, thank you very much. I still remember the tamales de la popular, okay? I was to my ministers in Florida, frozen. Anyway, if Michael Beck's are here, when? Mike is from Chicago, south, east, west, or north? You can't be east, because there's not no east.
Good morning, everybody. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to our local LULAC chapter here for hosting this event and inviting us. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys. And so my name is Michael Fenton. I'm running here for District 2. As you guys know, District 2 is a very diverse and very important district within our community. So why am I running? Our campaign slogan is "A vote for me is a vote for you." So what do I mean by that? I mean that I plan to be the representation and voice for the entire district. I do not care about your political, religious, racial, etc. identification and affiliation. I am not interested in anything like that. What I am interested in is what is best for the city of Dallas. I love this city. I am only 27 years old. I plan on starting a family and growing roots here in Dallas. But I am concerned with the levels of crime increasing, the backroom sweetheart deals and pet projects that some of our current incumbent council members are focused on, putting their own priorities above the priorities of their constituency. I will always put the voice of the constituency above my own interests. That I can promise you. So, why am I running? Well, to give you a little bit of background about me, in my professional career, in the last 5-6 years, I've lived my entire adult and professional life here in Dallas. I've been working in the healthcare staffing industry, so as Commissioner Alden was talking about earlier, the COVID vaccines, I've worked with our frontline heroes and frontline responders during the COVID pandemic, and I can assure you that in speaking to, our nurses, our doctors in our community, that we need to ensure that moving forward, in terms of vaccine distributions, in terms of everything with our health here, even though it is handled on the county level, I plan on working closely with our county commissioners to ensure that everybody is prioritized and everybody's able to receive equitable access to the vaccine, to other projects that are going on, so that we can ensure that District 2 remains a healthy district and prioritize the health of all of our communities within the district. So, as I mentioned earlier, I've been here my entire adult and professional life. Although I have been in Dallas, my entire adult and professional life, I obviously was not born here. So, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as soon as I could. I left Chicago for Texas for the strong local and state economies and the inherent traditional Texas values that we all know and love here in Dallas. And the Hispanic community is integral and very, very important in the culture and the fabric of those Texas and those Dallas values that we love. 42% of Dallas County is Hispanic or Latino. We have 66,000 businesses, minority-owned, Hispanic, Latino, minority-owned businesses in Dallas County. That is why we need to ensure that the Hispanic constituency and Hispanic and Latino communities are able to remain and continue to be a voice and a vital part of our culture, economy, and contributions here in Dallas. As I mentioned, 42% of Dallas is Hispanic or Latino, and so to ignore or to not prioritize the needs of the Hispanic neighborhoods and constituency, we are doing ourselves a disservice. And as some of people running here had mentioned earlier, affordable housing is another big issue that we are dealing with here in District 2. We are blessed to have a lot of people want to come in and do business here and develop the area in terms of our commercial and residential housing. However, we have to ensure that those families that have been within District 2 for decades, multi-generational homes and families, we need to ensure that they are able to stay in their communities, stay in their homes, and not be forced out of a home that they have paid off, but the property taxes are now forcing them out because they cannot afford it. That is why one of my proposals is for promoting and protecting home ownership. So first-time home buyers, we need to, for the first 4 years, give them a property tax cut. 47% the first year, 30% the second year, 20% the third year, and 15.5% the fourth year. So that we are able to not only continue, but build upon the generational wealth that is home ownership and the advantages that come along with that. So as well as promoting home ownership, we need to protect home ownership. So for our older senior communities, multi-generational family homeowners, if their property taxes exceed 6% of their annual income, they should not only be frozen, but deferred, interest-free, until the resident either sells, converts to a rental property, passes away, whatever. But the point is, as long as they are living in their home, we need to make sure that we do everything within our power on the council to ensure that they can stay in that home and pass that home on to their family, as they've already been doing in our communities for generations. So equity in health, equity in housing are very important, not only to the entire district, but to the Latino and Hispanic communities as well within our district. So Why is some young 27-year-old that was born in Chicago running for Dallas City Council? Well, about 3 months ago now, at 1:30 in the morning, 5 gunshots go off 2 doors down from where I'm living, and it took the police over 30 minutes to respond. And that's not their fault. We have an understaffed police department right now. We need to ensure that our police get the proper funding and the proper resources that they need, so that not only can we get more officers, but a diverse set of officers to match our diverse constituency here in Dallas. I firmly believe, and I know that all of you do as well, that our strength here in Dallas is through our diversity. It is not to put the few above the many, but the many before the few. So, with that being said, at 1:30 in the morning, 5 gunshots go off, 2 doors down. Police take over a half hour to respond. Once they finally do arrive on scene, we had seen 2 members of our community that had lived in that home for generations, for a very long time, pulled out in a stretcher, covered up, and it just had this profound impact on our neighborhood. And that was my call to action to start my campaign here in District 2. So, my top priority, far and away, is our public safety. Our public safety for all of our residents and our constituents in District 2. So, we need to ensure that not only do our police have the proper funding so that we can have a more diverse police force, but we also need to make sure they have the funding to do things like bring back our vice unit, which was abolished in 2018. That vice unit is responsible for fighting the biggest human rights crisis and violation in our recent history, which is human trafficking. Human trafficking is a $99 million a year industry in Dallas alone. On average, over 400 women and children are trafficked through the city of Dallas every day. We need to invest in cybercrime security because of the drug and sex and human trafficking that occurs online. Outside of that, our local economic development, we have lost 3,200 businesses over the course of COVID. So it is time that we now, moving forward as we come out of COVID, ensure that we put our community and our constituents and citizens of Dallas first when it comes to improving our local economy, investing in our local economy, because the more that we invest in our communities, that is the best way that we can ensure to have an equitable, accessible, and prosperous District 2 moving forward. So, again, a vote for me is a vote for you. What I mean by that is I will represent the voice of every group within District 2. I will never put my own interests above yours, and we will continue to work on the progress that we have made here in District 2 to ensure that it is equitable, accessible, and economically prosperous for all of our constituency. So if you'd like to learn more about my campaign, it's FetzerForDallas.com. Again, Michael Fetzer, District 2. Thank you. Absolutely, that's a wonderful question. Thank you so much for asking it. So, in my, a little over half a decade that I have been in Dallas, I have been very involved with the community in a voluntary and leadership capacity. So, I have served anywhere on, the North Texas Food Bank. During the winter storm that we had recently had, I had volunteered several hours, several days at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center to assist with our, less fortunate, our homeless, our displaced citizens, to ensure that they were fed, kept warm. We even delivered supplies like water, candles to those that were without water, without electricity during the storm. Previous to that, I have volunteered with Dallas Pets Alive, an organization that helps transfer pets that are in danger of being euthanized due to capacity limits at shelters, to make sure that we transfer them into a foster situation or into another shelter available. I'm the owner of 2 shelter dogs myself, so I am a firm believer in servant leadership and that you do not need to be an elected official to still invest in your community. So I have been greatly involved in the voluntary aspect within our community here in Dallas. And lastly, that I'll say on that note is my most proudest achievement as a volunteer or as a non-elected official is I also started and founded a community crime watch within District 2 that is now registered with the National Sheriff's Association.
Hilda's going to ask a question in a little while. After you finish, she's going to catch you on track, okay? Because we're running over here.
Well, he made a comment about priorities.
Hilda, you have too many cameras.
He made a comment about priorities about Adam, so I wanted to be specific. What priorities are personal to Adam that are not personal to him? I mean, if it's for the community, why are you saying that?
Are you talking about Omar?
No, Adam. He said that the current council member has his own priorities. And I want to know what they are, because if you're saying it, back it up.
30 seconds.
Yeah, well, I said some of the current council members. I was not specifically referring to Mr. Medrano. Mr. Medrano has, 8 years of leadership here in District 2. And I do think that he has done a lot of great things within the district, and I look forward to continuing on those initiatives. I do know that one of my critiques of Mr. Medrano would be that he was one of the council members to vote to reallocate $7 million from our police's overtime budget. We are already in April and well over 50% of our current overtime budget, and so I believe that, as I mentioned earlier, we need to ensure that our police have the proper funding, and reallocating or moving that money away from that budget is something I would not support in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Let's give a lot of applause for Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Earl D. Thomas in the house. Mr. Earl D. Thomas. You lost your opportunity to win this election. Jennifer Cortez, come up front, please. Jennifer Cortez is a candidate for Dallas City Council District 2. Ms. Cortez, let's welcome her to the LULAC way.
Buenos dias. Hey everybody, hello friends. My name is Jennifer Cortez and I'm running for District 2, Dallas City Council. When my grandmother first came to Dallas, she lived in Little Mexico with her cousin, who would later become the attorney to represent Santos Rodriguez in Delta Callejo. And Little Mexico is gone. And I am proud to have been I started with LULAC when I was in high school. When we actually North Texas Dream Team, which I'm a founder of, we met in the LULAC Young Adult Councils. Our first bus we were going to DC was helped funded by Ray and Domingo, helped funded so many, and Hector. So I'm so glad to now be here in this space, to now be here and looking at you guys, because this has been a space that I have been in for a very long time, for more than 15 years. Since then, Henry Cisneros, Ferraris Guerrero, they decided to take a chance on me. I became a director for their organization called New American Alliance. We were able to allocate capital allocation to Latino communities all across the country. I was in boardrooms. It put me in front of pension funds. It put me in Wall Street. I got to then connect my immigrant rights work with the White House, when we were helping to get those meetings together to pass DACA with the president. So it was an honor to be there. But I will tell you that the hardest room it's been to get into is this one, which is the House. To be an elected official, the process is too hard, and that's why I decided to run, because we need access. We need to have more leadership. We need more Latinas in City Hall.
Could we please give Ms. Cortez your attention, please? We really would appreciate for you listening to what she has to say. She's a serious candidate. Please, let's honor her being here.
Thank
you.
Thank you. So my main thing, so first off, like I said, my grandmother, when she came here, she came to Little Mexico, and Little Mexico is gone. We are fighting for our neighborhoods. We are fighting to keep the culture in every piece of Dallas, but very much so here in District 2. We have East Dallas, Deep Ellum, we have all the areas, a lot of the areas right by Cedars, downtown, It goes up to Cherrywood, it goes around Cedar Springs, it goes around Love Field, and we are fighting to keep our communities and our culture there. And that is why I came in late, but I came in late because I just got so fed up, I got so tired. I have been doing community work for the past 15 years, but when COVID happened, we had to figure out a creative way it was a Google Doc that went viral because people didn't know what to do when everything is shut down. There wasn't things in different languages, there wasn't something in Spanish, so we had to figure out creative ways to answer that. I got to get together with nonprofits back in April, May, talk to people like Mr. Cedillo, like Liz, to try to figure out how do we get this funding to the migrant community, because out of what $1.04 billion that was given to Dallas ISD and to the city of Dallas, none of it was eligible for our immigrant community. And we needed to figure out a way, how do we be creative? If federal funding won't be available to them, what do we do as a city? We're one of the most richest cities in the country. What we have all these corporations, all these private people. What do we do? And since I have a career in public-private partnerships, I was like, we can do this better. Thank you to Eric and to Liz that we're able to do $500,000, but that's such a fraction to what is needed. There's so many people, we were talking to mothers that were adding water to their milk back in April, that now and there's been so much loss. COVID is an equitable disease. It could hit everybody, but because we live in an equitable society, it hit us the hardest. And then after doing that, then I ended up getting COVID. I was working with nonprofits to get food. We rescued produce, and we fed over 1.2 million people we were able to access. And why is it that we're doing the work? Why is it that the resources are there, all we need is someone to connect the people? So the city and the government has become so disconnected to where the needs are. And that's why in January I ended up getting COVID myself. And I finally got a chance to stop for a second. And everything, the trauma of working with all the different families for years, but especially this past year, hit me. And I said, God, my blood to oxygen level went down to 72%. And I said, God, if you really get me out of this, I'm going to do something bigger. I'm going to take a stand because our communities are dying. Our people are dying, and no one is paying attention to the communities that are being hit the hardest. And it needs to be more. It is not enough. And that's why I decided to run. I put my name in the ballot. It was the first week of February, but that was before the deadline. And I said, even if I come and change the conversation, whoever will come behind me, because this is what needs to happen. We can't, for years and years and years, communities have been forgotten. And Dallas, 25% of the city of Dallas is a migrant community. That's more than 300,000 people, and that's only the people that we know. As a city council member, I plan to represent everyone because representation is important. There is something on the ballot this year that will allow non-citizens to be on boards and commissions. No one is talking about that, but it's important. We need to have a voice there, and I have been an immigrant. I've been a community advocate my entire life. I've got to be head of the marches that we've done together. I've known Mr. Flores since I was a kid, and it is because of that will that people in this room have, that I love for. My parents are both here, my father, my mother. My father's an educator. My mother is a public servant for the federal government, and it's because of what was instilled in me that I said I cannot sit here any longer and continue to fight over crumbs. We have to do more. I'm also running on mobility. At 26 years old, I'm 34 now. I was approached by a Fortune 15 mobility company to be consulted and to be contracted for them. And I've been blessed to do that. They did that because of the community work, the community connection they saw me have. And I learned so much there. I continue to learn so much there that I know that mobility is also a huge issue that we have here. But I know I'm going to retire. But if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, only 2 questions, okay? Go ahead.
Okay, thank thank you. So another, reimagining public safety is another thing I have. So a third of, I actually think that there are more creative ways that we can look at this besides bringing more police officers. A third of our police officers sit on desk jobs. The new chief that we have, Latino chief, he came from San Jose. The city that he came from has about the same size, about the same population. However, in Dallas, we have 3 times the amount of police officers. There's definitely a better way that we can do this. And it's about innovation. It's about working together and collaborating to really figure out how we do that better. So I think that instead of, before we have another of the same solution to a problem that continues to get worse, I think we try to look at things differently. It's not just about adding police, it's about also seeing how do we do things differently together, because in this city we really need that.
Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for coming out again today. My question to you is again about your heritage of having been involved with LULAC in the past, and what impact that might have made to you, and how are you currently involved in LULAC if you are? And can you speak to that before?
Of course, thank you, Ray. So this is definitely, like I was saying, that's built me and helped make me the leader that I am today is because of LULAC. Also, like I said, a Fortune 15 company wanted me to contract them as their client, and when I did that, one of the first places I said that we need to partner more up is with LASC and with Mr. Flores. We are one of the top corporate partners to LASC and to Mr. Flores nationally. Here in Dallas, together we're able to give we've done more than $4 million in scholarships. We continue to do work there. It's because of those connections. It's because of the connections with LULAC that I have such a reach into education. Thomas Jefferson High School, a lot of the students feed into that from District 2, has been hit so hard, and I'm able to bring more resources to them. So that's what I do, is bring resources. I just want to, now I'm just looking at doing it at the public level, because that's what needs to be done, and it's, like I said, I'm not a politician, but I am here to fight for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for being here with us, Jennifer. Good luck. And now we have the pleasure of introducing, I think you're still the current president, Justin? Yes, sir. If you could come up and address the group. Justin Henry has done a hell of a job at the school district. Not only is he an electrical engineer, he's a lawyer, but he was a teacher in LA. Y habla español. Bienvenido.
First, good morning. It's always an honor to be here. Thank you for the invite, Mr. Flores and my good friend Renee Martinez in the back. Thank you again. I'll your phone call. I know I'll get to you this week. I promise. It's been an honor to be here in front of you. This is not the first time I've been here. I love coming here. I served on the board of trustees for about 3 years. I'm up for re-election right now. The last 2 years I've been spending as board president, so I work closely with my colleagues to gain the support to move the needle for district, not only the entire district, but also District 9. He gave me a little bit about the background. Before I start, I know Jesse left already, but part of my district border is Jesse Moreno's district, and the first way I met Jesse was working through Woodrow. He's been phenomenally committed, not only to our community in East Dallas, but also the Woodrow Feeder Pilot, which is a graduate of. So he didn't listen to my name when he was up there, but I'm proud to support and endorse Jesse Moreno and his candidacy for D2. I don't know if I can do that or not, but that's the way I know him. I know him because of his service in the community, not any other way. So back to myself, again, I am a former educator. I'm an attorney. I've been passionate about public education and educational equity since I was a freshman at the University of Texas. I transitioned to the University of Texas and had a tough trouble. My first grade and my physics exam was a 32. I really recognized there was a difference between education you're getting in some urban and rural areas, South Texas, East Texas, cities like our cities, and what some of these other folks are getting. From that moment on, I've been deeply passionate about it. So I spent my whole adult life outside of getting an engineering degree, in the law degree, fighting for advocacy for educational equity. When I was in law school, I worked for the ACLU, fighting for school prison pipeline. When I was teaching, I got to get on the front line and see how hard our educators work. If you are an educator or you know an educator, you know that education is the most difficult profession. It's the most tiresome profession. They're physically drained at the end of the day. If you we have kids. Imagine you're one or two kids like these two kids in a room with 15, 20 other kids. And not only do you have to manage them, you have to move them from point A to point B. It is incredibly difficult. So if there are any educators in the room, I just want to thank you for the work you do day in and day out. I'm an attorney and engineer, and I can tell you without a doubt, it's much more difficult to be an educator than it is to be an attorney.
Can we please give Mr. Justin Henry your invitation?
Thank you. And it's much more difficult to be an educator than to be an engineer. It is incredibly hard. So, with that being said, the last year on the board has felt like two. Just like the rest of the city, we've dealt with a lot. We started with a tornado and TJ. And TJ, people think, oh, TJ's in North Dallas and all these expensive homes around North Dallas. No, the demographics of TJ are like any other district across. We're talking about predominantly Latinx and Black students, middle income, some low income students. So it was devastating for that community. That was their home. They had great leadership there, but the district and the city and nonprofits and corporations really rallied around that school and the community to meet their needs. In the interim, we're now building a new facility at TJ, which the whole board supported. So we're looking forward to that. In the midst of the tornado, we also had a pandemic, and we were one of the first school districts. Let me go back a little bit because I want to do disrespect. My colleague, Trustee Johnson, is in here as well. He serves on the board of the I should have said at the beginning. We have a great board. Across the board, districts 1 through 9, it's an honor to serve with them. They are all unquestionably passionate about public education. In my eyes, there's no question about why they're on the board. We're a volunteer board. I love our board, very good board. So back to the pandemic. As soon as the pandemic hit, we were one of the first districts to decide we were not going to be in person. We made some foresight in the beginning, and we already had devices. So all of our kids had mobile devices, so we went virtual. We paid for that. We didn't get it from the state. That came from our general fund. The iPads your kids might have, the laptops that they had, that was all from the district because we were already moving towards having time. We chose to continue to pay our staff. So our educators, our staff, our custodians, our bus drivers, all those folks who weren't working, weren't having buses going because the kids were at home. The board and the administration and the leadership of the superintendent also committed to our staff and educators that we're going to continue to pay you through this pandemic because we know times are tough, and it's just the right thing to do. In addition to that, we also fed folks. So I was in the line a few times with my kids. We had hubs across the city where we continue to feed our students. We know many of our students, their 1, 2, 3 meals come at our schools. So if they're at home and their parents are working or mentally struggling to make ends meet, to pay the light bill, etc., we feel there's still obligation to get the food out. So we have locations across the city, mostly high schools and middle schools, where we continue to give out meals for the whole entire week. So I say all these things because DISD, our main mission is to educate kids. That's what we're supposed to do. But in this pandemic, we've had to work with our community to show that it's much bigger than that. We care about our community. We work alongside our community. We want to support our community, whatever way we can do it. Most recently with the winter storms that hit us hard, we had over 200 schools had some sort of impact. And some schools get really heavily impacted. Bryan Adams High School, Lincoln High School hit very heavily, frozen pipes because there was no power. But even then, we had the district and the superintendent work with the county and the city to try to open up warming centers so our families can come into those warming centers and able to get warm, but also get access to food, etc. So DISD, again, we know our mission is to educate schools, educate students, but this past year has really tested us and stretched us to really show our commitment to our community. And so I want to say about DISD, personally on the board, I've been very committed to 4 things. The first thing is racial equity. You heard a lot about equity talk earlier today. Racial equity is we're getting resources to families that need it the most. In DISD, that's our Black students and our English language learning students, predominantly Latinx. If you look at our data, and the data is the data, it's not just a Dallas issue, it's a Houston issue, it's a Frisco issue. You pick an urban district and it's an issue there. The Black and brown kids are undereducated and over-disciplined. What I mean by that is undereducated and performing at a lower level than the other students in the district. But I mean, over-disciplined, they're getting not in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension. They're getting pushed out of class more so than the other students. So you look at it 2 ways. That either means our Black and brown students are more violent and dumber than every other student in the district, I don't believe, or something systemically wrong. And the district, with the racial equity resolution, with the racial equity policy, with investments of millions and millions of dollars of funds, we take the side that if we give our kids the resources, the supports, more counselors at the campuses, more APs at the campuses, smaller class sizes, better facilities. We just passed the largest bond in Texas history and we're making sure that money is distributed equitably. So you'll start seeing this touch all these campuses across the district. So I'm deeply passionate about community engagement, elevating the teaching profession, and early learning. So getting many of our 3- and 4-year-olds into high quality education as soon as possible with no cost to their families. So I'll be quiet then, Mr. Flores, and have the next question about time. It's not to be here.
Two questions, Hilda, another question, anybody else? Your next one.
I'm sorry, Hector, I don't mean to manipulate, but I do have very serious questions. One question is, when a vendor is awarded allocated and everybody is on board, why is it taking so long for this award? And I'm talking about a specific award. I'm talking about Latino awards in Dallas ISD, which they're awarded, but they're not given the permission to begin so that they can start the programs with Dallas ISD. What is holding them back? And when can we start? Can we have a meeting of some sort with the powers that be to get this project off the ground? It's already been awarded.
I don't have an answer to why that specific project is slowed up, but I'm happy to meet with you, including connection with the operations staff of the district committee. We will meet that next week, so I'm happy to address it. We have historically had some issues moving stuff forward. We've had some leadership changes in the operations department, which I think are positive changes, and I'll get out of personnel issues, but we have leadership now. The chief business officer is new. The person over the bond is new, and I think we can see much more efficient process, not only the construction side, but the day-to-day business side.
But if they're new, you pick them because they're qualified. So let's get them working.
Yeah, let's have a meeting with them.
We need to meet and find out what's holding us back.
Welcome, Fenton, to our LULAC monthly meeting here. One of the things that has happened with the pandemic is that in our schools, our extracurricular activities, after-school clubs and such have really struggled to continue going. We have had LULAC youth councils at various high schools over the years. Many of them are barely hanging on because they haven't been able to meet in person in these projects and the things that go into making our after-school program viable. Can you give us an update as to what's happening, how the district is considering extracurricular, like the LULAC youth councils, and how we can support and work together to maybe build those back LULAC and perhaps others as well? And then also, have you had involvement with membership in LULAC? And if so, or if not, would you consider joining the LULAC council? You know, we're open to everybody. So, it's civic-minded.
Yeah, I'll start with this thing, but I actually turned the case to Councilman Thompson and asked him that very question you can vouch for that, because I didn't know if I could or not, but I'd have to be a member of LULAC if possible. I'll talk to you to figure out how to make that happen. I haven't ever been involved or a member of LULAC historically.
Okay, my question is, can you give us an update on Thomas Jefferson High School? It's already been a year and a half since the tornadoes happened.
Yeah, construction's going. If you go up there, the dirt's moving. We approved. Oh, I thought you were saying I was about to go but yeah, the dirt's moving, the project's moving forward. The district and the board really want to get that open as soon as possible. Kids have been out of their school since that tornado hit. That's unacceptable. They have long commutes to get to the school they're supposed to be at. It's still, and also it's just their home. That's my home school. I want to be in my home school. So the board is working heavily. We approved some change orders to keep it moving. So we're, Trustee Johnson and I said, we're advocating to get that school as open as possible. But you want it done right. We don't want to. We want a great quality project as soon as possible. We don't want to exchange one together. And we are going to expand extracurricular. My daughter's a DSD student. She hadn't had it either because of the CDC guidelines. Starting next week, they're going to start to expand in her school and CDC across the district. Dr. Mendoza really emphasized it because when extracurricular activities are a lot of reasons students staying and contributing in school is actually used to be one of our board goals before we change. So I quickly answer that question.
For the record, Ray, when you work for ACLU, our sister agency, you know, the litigation process, we've been partners in litigation over the years, and thank you so very much for that service on those issues of importance to all Texans, but particularly those Texans of color. So thank you for that service, and thank you for your service on the Dallas Independent School District. And now I have my friend Kate Arnold, my son's teacher from Bishop Dunn, and a great member of the magnet school at one time. Welcome. You did a great job at City Hall.
Good morning, and I know that it's been long and lengthy, so I will not be long and lengthy. I'm sorry, but I am a certified teacher, trained, bona fide certified, and so it takes for me to, you notice that I'm pausing, because as a teacher, you know that both of us can't talk. The teacher and the students can't talk at the same time. So it's one of those learned behaviors that I have. So I'm going to let you get situated with some of those conversations. Thank you. As Dr. Flores mentioned, I arrived in Dallas more than 40 years ago. And my first assignment was at Bishop Dunn. And I taught there, and that's where Mr. Flores and I became friends. And his son Hector, whom I pretty much have adopted, that was my warrior. he almost caused me to lose my job because he wanted to have a protest against the cafeteria workers because they were not wearing hairnets. And I would say, hold on. But I can tell you that was a great experience. We've been together for many years. After I left Dunn, I'm just giving you a quick overview so more people want to know about personal. I went to Woodrow Wilson. And there I met Mr. Where's Rene Martinez? I don't know if he's here or not. But what Rene Martinez did was great for us in that community because we were having struggles in Woodrow Wilson, Lakewood area. And it's all about, it's the same thing. It's always about the fight of equity and equality. And so Mr. Rene Martinez was very instrumental in getting one of our first Hispanic principals at Woodrow Wilson. And so Dr. Torres. And Dr. Torres was a revolutionary and a great impact on education. And so we've been together between Mr. Flores and Mr. Rene Martinez through the years because this struggle is serious. It's not something that we need to take as a popularity contest and we vote on it when we feel good about this position and that position. The serious matter of this is that we are still struggling for equality and equity in this city. This is how I'm born, bred, and read when it comes to fight. And so now we are here at City Hall. And let me jump back to, I also left Woodrow and went to Yvonne A.O. Townview, where the struggle continued. And so I'm very familiar with the issues that affect us in terms of African American, Hispanic children. And so the struggle continues. And when you go back, and I'm not going to give you all my history today, you can Google that. I've served on all the boards when it addresses as it relates to fighting for our children. But what I will say at Townview, I met a young man, I taught him, Jose De La Rocha. That's how I ended up here also. Because he said, Miss Arnold, you need to come to the breakfast that we have on Saturdays. Jose now is a police officer. And we stay in touch from time to time. And he knows he can talk to me whenever he needs to. But it was his voice that brought me here. And I'm going to stop just for a second and say, I appreciate the fact that he brought me here also because of Domingo Garcia. What you see in Domingo Garcia is what I continue to speak and preach for in our communities. You have a man, and I knew him before really his wife. You have a man who gives of himself so he can educate the community. That's what you want to see coming out of City Hall. People who are paying it forward. Not there for a paycheck. I'm not there for a paycheck. You're going to have a lot of candidates here who are there for a paycheck. They don't have a regular flow of income, and I'm just going to put it out there like that. And so they see this as an opportunity to get attention. When you're behind the horseshoe, it's about a struggle and the voice. And that's what I'm all about. So I will tell you, I appreciate being here today. I appreciate the fact that Domingo Garcia is giving of himself so that we can all sit here. We're all sitting here eating a breakfast that he paid for. And so we should see more leaders like that. And so you don't have to worry about whether or not he paid me to say this. He did not. We don't have regular conversations, but I applaud him for his efforts and his work and his commitment. And much of what he does, many of you don't know about. And so that's the way I am. Much of what I do, many of you don't know about. Because I'm not in the news trying to get attention all the time. I'm not a media whore. And so what I'm telling you today is this. You're going to hear people who are going to tell you to even today, because I see my opponent here today, what I have not done. As an educator, I'm going to tell you, we are under attack right now as I speak. Voter suppression right now that's going on in Austin is going to kill both the black and brown agenda if we don't wake up and get educated. And so when I talk about what has been accomplished, I'm going to give you my cards today. If you don't read that, go to my website, electcarolynkingarnold.com. Google me. I have enough articles where I have spoken behind the horseshoe about equity. So I'm not going to go through all of that today. But what I can tell you is that what we're accomplishing today in terms of housing, economic development. It's a slow process. You ask the question, it's all about politics. Because sometimes folks don't want you to get across the line. It's by design. And so as I talk to you right now about me being the only African American female on the council, I'm under attack by a black man. So I have to tell you like it is. We have one Hispanic female on the council. We're working together. I have my brown brothers on the council who support me. And I'm going to continue to work with them as it relates to it. I don't know if Omar is here or Adamadrano is here. But we work together in tandem. And so when I close here, and I see him standing here now, when I first arrived and started working at Bishop Dunn, I forgot to tell you. I started looking out and reading. Who did I find? The Madranos. Where did I start my work? At the Marillac Center. Where did I start working with LULAC? Gracie Cortez at Townview. So I have history. All you have to do is read. So what I'm going to tell you today is this. If you have friends in District 4, if you don't live in District 4, have them to call me. Go to my website. I am all about fighting for equity, because as we continue to see, even with the coronavirus, it's hitting black and brown. And you have to ask yourself why. But one of the things I can tell you from that card that I have done, I've worked with Dr. Dwelvis Edwards. He's going to open up a clinic in Glendale Shopping Center to make sure in the heart of 75216, we at least have a community center that my work is on it. Our work as staff is on it. So read and don't believe all the hype about what she has not done. I am a city council member, not a school board member. City council and school board trustees have different functions. So a city council member cannot build a school. A city council member does not run a school. But what we do is set policy around the horseshoe. So if you have any more questions, feel comfortable in asking me, because I'm here. I appreciate the effort being here. I'm going to continue to be here for you. I'm going to continue to be here for the city of Dallas. But right now, I'm telling you today, we have got to come together and handle up on the enemy that's waiting for us in Austin, because all of this is going to be for naught if we don't get together today to begin to fight voter suppression and the other injustices that we face as African Americans and Hispanics in this country. Thank you.
Any questions? Ray, I think you already got all the questions, Ray. Anybody else? Anybody else have a question of Carolyn King Arnold? Ray, back up the floor to you.
Carolyn, I want to welcome you as well here, and also say I made a commitment to our youth that I would bring up the youth councils and our meeting here today. So I wanted to ask you if you could look back at your history and talk about or think about what those things that you did in high school as a youth member maybe prepared you for today, for the success you had today, obviously. But also, would you make a commitment to joining LULAC, perhaps during 102, the host for our breakfast, or any of the other LULAC councils that we have in the community that you can choose from? Our Education Council 272 also needs here no clip, so you can have your choice of council if you.
So just in terms of quickly, just give me about 2 seconds, your first part of the question, as it relates to youth, what have I done?
What